Recently, when I did an AMA on the main channel, a lot of people asked me about what gun that I carry every day. The answer is Benvolio, my P30 LEM gray guns. But a lot of people didn't know that I had changed from a VP9, so I had a lot of people on the channel answering those questions and saying he carries a VP9. I did for about 4 years, so I want to answer the question now because it's been asked enough times. Why did I switch? Today's video is brought to us by MagTech Ammunition. Whether I'm shooting rifle or pistol, if I'm on the range training, MagTech Ammunition is along for the ride. All right, mea culpa, I am actually HK's brand ambassador. So, you know, they send me guns and money. That's what that means. So in the interest of full disclosure, these are not an unbiased review of an HK. Now, the funny part is there's another video here on the Active Self-Protection Extra channel of me reviewing the HK VP9, and I did that review before I had any relationship with HK whatsoever. Actually, that video was my introduction to HK. And they were like, hey, we like what you do, and we want you to continue to carry your VP9, and we would like to formalize that relationship. And when a company of HK's stature with a gun you're already carrying, in my case a VP9, said, hey, we would like to start sending you guns and money, you'd be a fool to say no to that. You wouldn't say no to that. I didn't say no to that. And they've been fantastic. They have never asked me to shill for them. They have never asked me to say something that's not true or give anything other than my actual opinions on things. And they've let me, you know, review guns from other companies. I just did the Springfield Hellcat not long ago, and they're totally cool like that. So they're great to work with. Okay, fine. I bought a VP9, not this particular one, but a VP9 right after they came out. When they were brand new in the marketplace, I really liked what it offered me. Particularly, I liked the fact that it was fully ambidextrous, right? So go watch the video on the VP9. Ambidextrous controls, ambidextrous mag release, big deal to me. Also a very soft shooting gun, and I think that it has the best trigger of any striker fire gun on the market out of the box. I think you could make a case for the Walther PPQ M2 as well. I think you could make a pretty strong case for the Walther, but this is just as good, if not better, right out of the box. And you can make a Glock or a SIG P320. You know, you can make an M&P as good if you're dropping in aftermarket triggers, and you could drop in aftermarket triggers into VP9, and they're awesome too. But out of the box, I really felt like best trigger, good usable sights, and you know, ambidextrous controls. And since I shoot left-handed, and if you're here on the Extra channel, you see me shooting this guy all the time, that was kind of a big deal to me. Then after a while, I got into that dot game, and this is not John Talbot. John Talbot's actually off getting some work done on him right now. But I carried for the longest while a VP9 with an RMR. In this particular case, this is now my home defense gun, and so it has a light on it as well. You could see I had an X300U on it, but I gave the X300U to my pastor as part of his Pastor Appreciation Month gift, and so I am stuck using a TLR1, which is not a bad choice at all. That's the HL version. But as a home defense gun, love this gun, don't have any problems with this gun, could carry this gun without the light on it. I'm not a big, I don't think a weapon mounted light is necessary, but you know, it's for another day. But I could carry a VP9 for the rest of my life and be perfectly confident with this gun. This, though, is Benvolio. Benvolio is my HK P30 LEM trigger that has been worked over by Bruce Gray and his guys at Gray Guns. And this gun got me to shift from the VP9 to the P30. And you might ask why. Well, my foray into P30 started when HK and I kind of were getting together, and the director of marketing, Bill Dermody, who is a great guy and I consider him a friend, said, John, why don't you check out the P30 LEM? I think you might be interested in that. To which my answer was, what's the LEM? I wasn't very familiar with the LEM, so I went and did a little bit of research. And the biggest thing that I found there is that a guy who I really respect, Todd Lewis Green, loved the HK LEM trigger on the P30 and particularly set it up his particular way. Now, I never got to train with Todd. The only interaction I ever had with Todd was reading his stuff on Pistol Forum. So that tells you kind of my time frame on some of this stuff. But when I read some of Todd's stuff about the P30 LEM, I said to Bill, sure, let me test one for a little while. So I got a P30 LEM. Bruce Gray at Gray Gun said, John, why don't you let me tune that trigger a little bit, put a short reset in it, system in it, and you'll really like it a lot. Sure, why not, Bruce? So Bruce put in the short reset system on this guy. And this gun is really a cheater gun. I gotta be honest with you. The reset on this trigger, the feel of the trigger of the gun, combined with the red dot sight, how soft the P30 you know, dual recoil spring is, and how easy it shoots, this gun really is a cheating gun. Now, really, the reason I love the LEM trigger is because it combines the best of a striker and the best of a hammer. The best part of a striker fire gun is you get a consistent trigger press. You get one single click, and then when the gun resets, it sets to its original spot, same trigger press. So again and again and again, the downfall to most hammer-fired guns, single action only doesn't do this, but the traditional double action gun. So the downfall of a single action only gun, manual safety, which I have seen people fumble in training time and time and time again. And really, I'm not a big fan personally of manual safety on defensive carry guns. That's not me telling you what to do. That's me telling you what I do. Traditional double action gun, you got that longer, heavier first press, and then a short, light, crisp press in single action from there. So what you get is you get the kind of single action press of a traditional double action gun in the striker every single time. You get that single, lighter press every single time. That's a good thing. However, the advantages of a hammer-fired gun are several. Number one, if you get a click when you want to bang, you let the trigger out and keep working. On a striker fire gun, if you get a click, that striker is going to be dead. Now it's time to tap, to rack, or just rack, as the case may be in what you're training, and then keep going. Whereas if you have a hammer, one of the advantages is you can get another try. Click, oh no, that didn't work. Click again. Now I have another opportunity to see if I had a bad primer strike on the first one. I'm gonna back up just a little bit to show you the second advantage that I really like is in holstering. Whether I am going strong side or I am going appendix, the thing that I do with the hammer-fired gun is I put my thumb over the back plate, and by putting my thumb over the hammer, if God forbid something gets inside the trigger guard while it's going into the holster, this thumb here blocks the hammer from moving backwards and keeps me from having a negligent discharge into my meaty bits. So I never do that, of course. I want to see my finger, I want to do all my safety stuff, but another layer of safety, a little bit more safety as I safely, carefully holster in the appropriate manner is a good thing. So I really, really like that. I also like that I try very hard to have a very fast draw to first shot, because we've seen on the channel all the time that a fast draw to first shot is one of the skills that you just have to have. And one of the ways that the hammer-fired gun, particularly the LEM, helps me in that is if you watch the channel, I'm not going to talk about all this, we'll talk about it another day, is that I do a claw grip. And the thing that a claw grip does is rather than a full drive your thumb back behind the holster grip, I go thumb over the back plate. And as I start to draw the gun and the gun comes up, I leave this here, the second hand comes on, and what you notice is the hammer is being blocked the entire time until I get a second hand on the gun, drive my thumb off and press the trigger. Well, guess what that does? When the gun is coming out of the holster, my hammer is blocked. If I do something stupid like get my finger on the trigger early, I can't streak around into my wetting tackle while the gun is coming out. I really like that with the P30 LEM. The other part of LEM that I love is it's not like a traditional double action striker, or hammer rather. It's not a traditional double action hammer in that the first press you can see is very light. So what you get is that same in this particular setup. You get that very light all the way to the wall press, then you get a very consistent press. This one breaks right at about 5 pounds. That's what I asked Bruce to set it at. That's what he set it at. Then because it has the Gray Gun's short reset system in it, it resets that short and keeps going. So I can run this gun very fast at speed. I don't have to let the trigger out a very long ways when I'm running the gun, and it's running like it should, which this gun always does. Other reason I went to the P30, this gun is just really known for being absolutely reliable, durable. VP9 is known for reliability as well. But this year alone, in 2019, I've put right at 25,000 rounds through this gun. And I know every internet commando on earth says they shoot that much. I actually can verify to you that I did. I took 328 hours of gun school this year. I shot something like 11,000 rounds in classes, like during class time as a student. And so the rest of that was practice, shooting on camera, those kinds of things. And I shot a lot this year, more than I've ever shot in years past. Shot most of it through Benvolio here, 25,000 rounds without so much as a hiccup. In fact, I talked to the guys at HK and I said, hey, you know, when's the recoil spring assembly going to need to be replaced on this gun? And they're like, I don't know, another 20, 30,000 rounds, we might think about it. So this gun is just dead nuts crazy reliable and can absolutely take a pounding, and I think that that's, for a guy like me that's shooting a lot, is important. You can see I shot it so much I actually shot the front sight off it, and the problem was that it is a custom height front sight for these backup irons on my dot, and I haven't been able to find another one, and it got flung off into the berm. Haven't been able to replace it, but since my dot is so reliable, haven't really needed to worry about it. So straight up, I could carry a VP9 for the rest of my life. It wouldn't bother me at all. If you said, John, you only get to carry one gun for the rest of your life, has to be a striker fired gun, gun, which one do you want? I'll carry a VP9 absolutely all day long, put a red dot on it, and if I could, you know, get Bruce Gray Guns to do a trigger job on it, and I could carry this gun for the rest of my life, not feel bad about it at all. That said, if you look and say, what gun is John carrying every day? The P30 LEM, tuned by Gray Guns for this one personally. And the reason that I love that P30 LEM is it has all the advantages of a striker fired gun, all the advantages of a hammer fired gun, none of the disadvantages of the striker fired gun, none of the disadvantages of the hammer fired gun. So I really feel like the LEM trigger is kind of the holy grail and the best out there. And that's why I went to it. So I appreciated Bill Dermody for just encouraging me, hey John, you might want to check out the P30 LEM and see if you like that gun. Because once I started shooting it for a while, I really do. And it's going to take something. I'm always a fan of getting better and having better equipment if it will help you. And when we make a plasma rifle in the 40-watt range, I'll carry that instead. But it's going to take quite a bit to get me off my P30 LEM. And the reason it is because the gun, I think, is just in our current market the best combination of all the features available. So VP9, very cool. P30 LEM, it's a gun I trust my life to.